Well, hello. I was playing around with these fancy masks. It is day of 5 of my 10-day end of 2025 reset. Probably could have got my glasses out and about. I have it in my mind that I'm going snowboarding today for Christmas. Merry Christmas, by the way. And but I'm looking at the webcam and noticing, oh my, it looks snowy up there. Can I make this work? I should have had this out for day 1 of my shadow mandala project because that was the mask, and I have already done day 1. It's day 5 of my 10-day end of year reset, in case you hadn't caught any of my other lives. And I'm just sharing this real and raw and real time as I go through a new project that I have developed and will be using in 2026. I'm excited about my 3-day resets, which I'm doing monthly, and this 10-day reset with the Shadow Mandala project is something I will probably do seasonally, and then I'll hope to do a longer, like 28 to 40 day annual detox reset, the kind of thing humans used to do very regularly, and I think for good reason. So bringing wellness back into my own life via letting shit go. It's really the easy and the hard part of it. So see if I can see. There we go. Today, as I mentioned, is, let me grab my notebook. It is day 5 of the reset and day 4 of my shadow mandala project. Today I'm focusing on the child or the fool archetype. And the idea of this shadow mandala project is to just have a framework for exploring 8 or 9 or 12, however many you want, really. I'm doing 8 plus a center hero part. Here's my secondary framework with 8 sections. That's easier to draw, and I've got a little book that I'm putting together with all of that. This one was my first attempt, and it's got 9 sections, which was, again, trickier to draw, but I'm going to be doing them both just as examples, and there will be more examples in the little book that I'm creating, and then I'll be doing this with clients and have more and more examples by this time next year. So that's exciting. But just for a quick review, I've chosen archetypes that resonate for me in particular. So in case you're wanting to try this project, I encourage you to try archetypes that resonate for you the most. There are many. There's not one right way or wrong way to do any of this. So to that, I have attached some questions. And again, in the little booklet that I put together, there are lists of sample questions, but it is totally fine and even encouraged to come up with your own questions or find questions that resonate the most for you. So what I set up for this particular project is a little bit different on these 2 samples, because why would they be the same, right? But I did what's my TOO face, TOO face, like how am I wearing a mask and diminishing my shine, even though this mask is shiny, in order to, or in response to other people telling me I'm too much, too little, too old, too young, too tall, too short, too fat, too skinny. You get the idea. And then day 2, I did the victim. And my question for day 2 was, how am I playing the victim? How am I using that in my life? How is it serving me and not serving me? And then day 3, I did the judge or critic. That was yesterday. And explored the question, how am I Or what am I judging in others and why? I have quite a bit to say about that yesterday, actually, in my reflections. And so today, my question is, how am I acting the fool and why? And when I was contemplating that, which I've been doing since this morning or a little bit last night, I started sketching a little bit. That's probably a picture of me with my gesture hat on. And I definitely resonate a lot with the archetype of the fool, the trickster also. I have embraced that archetype a lot in my life, and I still do. And so it might take some extra digging to really get to some truths in that, or perhaps I'm wearing the truth right on my sleeve. I don't know. I'm going to spend today contemplating that a little bit. I am dressed to go to the mountain, but I'm looking at pictures of the mountain and noticing that it is snowing up there. It's a white Christmas. So now I have the wonderful choice between acting the fool up on the mountain in the snow. It's my puppy dog making some groaning noises. Or I could stay here and act the fool with my groany puppy dog, who would much prefer I stayed home every day, all day, unless I was taking him somewhere. Which is why I need to practice going places without him. So that's my dilemma, which really doesn't have to do with the shadow work I'm doing, other than everything has to do with everything, right? Yeah, I haven't gotten into it yet, and I may have some epiphanies later in the day and then come back to it. But my intention with these lives and this project is just to share my real-time experience as I go through the project. So that's what I'm doing. And as I mentioned, my internal resonance with the fool archetype makes it probably extra challenging to ask myself any serious questions about it. But, that said, that put on the table right here and now, it's clear that that is a way that I use to escape things that I probably should face sometimes. Like, I do think the fool archetype is a great one to embody sometimes, but it has cost me a lot as well. And I've probably used it as an excuse at times, like just sort of like, that's how I am, I'm foolish, instead of cultivating more self-discipline. I would also say that sometimes, even though I just said all that about being naturally foolish, there's probably a real side of me that is critical of other people's foolishness, which would indicate criticism of and judgment of foolishness in myself. And as I just, if I look back at how I just phrased that, I was playfully saying, like, I'm good at being a fool. And then I sort of put myself down, right, for being foolish at the wrong times, maybe, or in the wrong ways. And I think the archetype of the fool is often the reason it's next to the child, or kind of one, and I put them both in the same, get my hand to move the right way. I put those both in the same archetype or frame because they have a lot in common. There's an innocence to foolishness. And I guess that's where my judgment comes in, because I think sometimes I and others act foolish, act the fool, act like we don't know better, when actually we do. And that's more hypocritical than childish. I mean, it is immature and childish on some level, but maybe it's less innocently playful and more escapism, right? That classic ego escapism. Noticing all my little bits of clutter around. I'm still working on this studio. It's come along actually quite a bit, but it's amazing to me that no matter how much I come along, it seems like there's still more to go. That is like an addictive, um, egotistical, egoic principle. And is a good place to mention that the reason that I'm doing this shadow work, which I've done a lot of, and I've helped others go through, and I look forward to helping others go through. The reason for it is self-examination, growth, is because like there's these gifts, for lack of better terminology, there are gifts hiding in our shadows. We often shortchange ourselves, don't step fully into our full capacity because we are like wallowing in the shadow aspects, which is a interesting dichotomy because it's like wallowing in the thing that we're denying or we're not looking at. And so shadow work, and especially this mandala shadow mandala project that I'm doing, is a great way to tap into the subconscious, to invite yourself to examine what's in the subconscious or unconscious that is really driving us more. We think that our thoughts are driving us and our choices and decisions and goals are driving us. But if you're having any trouble meeting your goals or having any of your behaviors not match up with what you say, like maybe you want to be a certain person, and then the kind of person you are is somewhere, some distance from that kind of person. In that case, you're like most humans, including myself, and there's probably a lot going on in the subconscious or unconscious that isn't matching up with those conscious desires or what we think we want. So shadow work is a way of inviting and examining what's really going on under the hood, so to speak. What's really going on in the shadows? What am I really believing that's driving my behaviors rather than just what do I think I'm believing? And yeah, we think that our thoughts are reality, or you know, I've spent the last 5 years studying feelings, and 50 years before that, feeling feelings, and really grappling with the knowledge that feelings are not facts, but they are important information. And that work started by realizing that my thoughts are also not facts. And they're often false stories about my feelings, in fact. And yeah, as I examine all of it and get better at being able to hold a safe space for myself to just messily look at what's really going on under the hood or in those shadows, I'm able to like concentrate or focus in on those aspects of myself that are my most treasured gifts to myself and maybe to the world. But one of the things I've had to learn quite painfully in the last 5 years or so is that it's not healthy, at least for me, to base my goals, my objectives on doing things for the world, for humanity. That's like a setup for feeling let down and betrayed. As a part of humanity, woven in intrinsically, it's better to focus on how can I best take care of myself, what really feels most aligned for myself. And maybe I'm really behind on this work, but it is what it is. I'm right on time for me, right? I'm about to be 55, and I like it's probably average. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Different people realize this at different levels. I certainly, when I was 13, would have told you I'd already realized it, had it all figured out. And I've had many, many, many iterations of feeling like I figured it out, at least to some extent. And along the way, the more of those I have, the more I hold space for like this knowing that knowing is fallible, which is what I was trying to get at with like my thoughts and my feelings are not the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. They're data, which I'm still learning to even interpret and gather and pay attention to. So, yeah, I think humanity at large is in a similar place as far as what we think we know, what we really know. Like there's things we really know that we don't know we know. Things we know in our subconscious and unconscious that aren't in our conscious knowing, that our bodies know by the way they respond, like our cells, our DNA. And then there's things that we think we know that they're just made up. They're not even based on anything. And I think are about to get, a lot of that's getting upheaved right now. So it creates like a strong desire to cling on to what's true at the same time that we need to learn to let go, relax, and just loosen that grip at least a little bit, right? Right? That's on my list of things I'm trying to stop, trying to say less, trying to stop saying, trying to say less. Anyway, there you have a real and raw, real-time session of shadow work with me, myself, and I. I am looking forward to doing this work with some of my clients in 2026. As I've mentioned, this is a beta run through and real-time demonstration of my own work, my own journey with this framework. And I'm really enjoying it. It's fun. Yeah, I hope you're enjoying a Merry Christmas or whatever else you're into, however you celebrate this holiday season. I'm still not sure if I'm going to make it to the snow, but it's almost noon and I'm going to decide. And if you like and subscribe, then I'll be seeing you soon. Even if you don't, maybe I'll see you soon. Maybe I won't. Maybe you'll be doing other things, and so will I. Anyway, I'll be around for 2026, so ciao for now.